Well, good afternoon, folks. Ben Dorr here again with Minnesota Gun Rights. I'm at the Capitol. The committee hearing on House File 1669 and 1605 just got over, and I've got all the information that you need to know about what happened here today. I'm going to let a bunch of people hop on here quick. Guys, we knew this was going to happen here today. We kind of figured it was going to go the way it has gone. I'm going to give you the details of what happened. So the committee hearing was supposed to be held over in the state office building, where the room holds 150, 200 people. We heard yesterday that they had moved it to this small little committee room here in the Capitol here. Only 40 people from each side were able to squeeze in this little room. There were hundreds and hundreds of gun owners here who wanted to get in and watch how this committee hearing shook out, and they were not able to get into the rooms today. And I want to tell you what happened inside the committee. First off, the last time gun bills came up in the House Public Safety Committee that Minnesota Gun Rights wanted to talk on, they wouldn't let us testify. So this time around, and of course you saw what happened the other day. We were up here, our director Chris and I, we tried to talk with the House, with Public Safety Committee Chairman Brian Johnson about the gun control bills that were coming forward. We approached him in the state office building. We said, Chairman Johnson, we want to know, are you you're not going to hold hearings on gun control bills, are you? This was just a couple of days ago, and he refused to talk to us. He ran out of the building, and so we knew that something was wrong. Only an hour later, we found out that he had scheduled hearings on universal gun registration and this red flags orders bill. And so we knew that they were going to do whatever they could to halt gun owners, to keep gun owners out of the loop. So I came up here yesterday to the Capitol and I delivered written testimony from Minnesota Gun Rights for every member of that committee who was there present today, and we had a big tall stack for everybody else in the crowd so they could see what Minnesota Gun Rights members and supporters had to say on these bills. And so we wanted to make sure gun owners' voices were heard here today, and that no political tricks were allowed to keep us from making sure that gun owners' voices were heard. I'm going to read you quickly our public testimony, or our written testimony to the committee, so they can read this tonight. They can sit there on their lazy chairs and see what gun owners had to say. I'm going to read this to you very quickly, folks, so you know what was said by us on behalf of your gun rights here today. We said, Mr. Chair and members of the House Public Safety Committee, as law-abiding and gun-owning citizens throughout Minnesota know, gun control legislation such as House File 1669 and House File 1605 has no way of stopping or slowing crime or providing for an increase in public safety, and nor do we believe that it is intended to do so. The left is not here to improve public safety. They're here to strip us of our gun rights. The reason is simple. Law-abiding and gun-owning citizens know that criminals, by definition, do not follow the law because they are criminals. Instead, Minnesotans are keenly aware of what legislation like this truly represents, which is a direct attack on their natural right to self-defense and their specific right to keep and bear arms as recognized by the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Rather than insulting and attacking law-abiding gun owners by trying to advance an agenda of militant gun control, I strongly urge this body to use the power of this committee to advance the ability of the citizenry to defend themselves against and be a deterrent to crime by passing legislation such as Stand Your Ground law and constitutional carry. Because legislation like HF 1669 and HF 1605 are such an egregious violation of our Second Amendment rights, thousands of gun owners statewide have been mobilized against it as a precaution. Gun owners are not asleep. They're activated, they're mobilized, they're organized, and watching very closely the actions of this committee today. And don't forget, folks, this is the most important part. This is what we wanted them to hear no matter what happened. Do not forget, 2018 is an election year, and gun owners across Minnesota will be made aware of any actions this committee takes today. On behalf of the thousands of gun owners across the state who are unable to represent themselves here today, I strongly insist that you abandon support for this and any other gun control measures that may come before this committee. Sincerely, Ben Dorr, Political Director, Minnesota Gun Rights. That was what every one of those legislators in that committee room heard today from Minnesota Gun Rights and from our members and supporters. And I want to tell you, instead of killing the bill Instead of bringing the bill forward for a vote, having the majority party, and killing this gun control bill, instead, they laid it on the table. For those of you who don't know what that means that they didn't kill the bill, they didn't pass the bill. It's alive and well. They can hold more hearings on it. They can pull it out of that committee. They can put it on the House floor. They didn't kill the gun control. They just laid it on the table. We think that's absolutely ridiculous. We think that the majority party, that the supposed pro-gun legislators here should go to war for gun owners. Go to war for the gun owners who sent you here in the first place. If you agree, give us a thumbs up on this video so I know you're watching. Guys, you got a ton of people coming on here today. Thank you for joining us. They should have killed this gun control. In fact, what they could have done, and I want to tell you about this, just 2 days ago in Missouri, the Missouri legislature took a gun control bill in committee. They stripped out all of the gun control. They gutted the gun control bill, and they turned the bill into a gun-free zone repeal bill. The pro-gun majorities down there stripped out the gun control, made it a pro-gun bill, and pushed it out of committee. That is what the pro-gun majorities in Missouri did just 2 days ago for gun owners. That's what our majority party could have done just a few minutes ago in the basement down here. They could have gutted these gun control bills. They could have put stand your ground law. They could have put constitutional carry. They could have put those bills in there and moved them along, but they didn't. And what's more, they didn't even kill the gun control. They didn't even kill the gun control. They laid it on the table. So this fight is not over. We cannot take our foot off their necks. This is political maneuvering at its finest. It's meant to look good. It's meant to deceive gun owners into thinking that here we have, pro-gun legislators going to war for gun owners. But I was there in the committee room, and I have to tell you, the leftists who were in there, Representative Considine, Representative Dean, Representative Pinto, these guys were going to war against your gun rights. They were doing hard hits on the pro-gun legislators in the room, fighting tooth and nail to get this gun control to pass out of this committee. And all I saw from our pro-gun allies was weak sauce. Weak sauce. Not a one of them stood up and really went to war for gun owners and fought back. Not a one. It was just a really weak showing here today. And so now, we're not far into the legislative session. We're a week and a half into the start of this legislative session. These gun control bills are not dead. They're still alive, and what's more, Representative Linda Slocum's bill, House File 3022, you guys have heard all about that, the raging gun control bill that she introduced just a short while ago. That bill is still alive and well. We're hearing that we might have hearings on that gun control legislation as well. If that ticks you off, if you think that's totally unacceptable, smash the angry button. I want to know who's all watching this, who's paying attention. Donnell says weak sauce is right. I don't know how else to say it, folks. I don't know how else to say it. Gun owners stormed to the polls and gave us the pro-gun majorities that we have here today. Gun owners did that because they expect advancements in their Second Amendment rights. And when the left is charging forward with gun control, they expect a defense, a rock-solid defense of their Second Amendment freedoms. Well, they're not seeing it right now, folks. They didn't pass Stand Your Ground in 2017. They didn't pass constitutional carry then either. They killed off those bills, and now here we are in 2018, and we have gun control coming at us, and we saw no real major defense of our Second Amendment rights here today. Many of the supposed, staunch pro-gun legislators who at least claim to be there, I don't recall hearing a single word come out of their mouths. They sat there the entire committee hearing long, and then and finally at the end, said I will lay it over for consideration. Guys, I want you to join up with Minnesota Gun Rights today. If you're not a member, we need you on our side, because I'm telling you right now, the legislature here, they're not fighting on behalf of gun owners. They're not going to war for gun owners. Gun owners, unfortunately, we have to do it ourselves. We have to pour the political pressure on. We have to hold this legislature accountable for their actions right now and for the rest of this session. like I said, so the bills have been laid over for now. Nothing happened here today to pass gun control, but they did not kill the bills. They didn't kill them. So they're still alive. Folks, that's not good news. Not good news at all. Again, we saw the left going to war for gun owners. We saw the anti-gun representatives in the committee making hard hits at your gun rights. And what did the pro-gun legislators do? They didn't do much. They really didn't do much here today. So we're asking folks, don't let up the pressure. Keep the pressure on, keep fighting, and keep contacting your state reps telling them you oppose this crap. Again, right, just in Missouri 2 days ago, we saw the Missouri legislature go to war for gun owners. They destroyed a gun control bill. They ripped out all the anti-gun language, and they put in a gun-free zone repeal bill. And they passed this bill on behalf of gun owners. Right now, just yesterday, and there's more action being taken, in the state of Wyoming, their pro-gun legislature is passing Stand Your Ground through both the House and the Senate. They've been working on the bill. It's passed both chambers multiple times, and it's about to go all the way through. Out in Wyoming, they're going to war for the Second Amendment. They're going to war to defend gun rights and advance pro-gun bills. Here in the state of Minnesota, we have a pro-gun majority who killed off Stand Your Ground law in 2017. They're telling us you're not going to see any pro-gun bills this year. Thanks for the majorities, gun owners, but you get nothing. I don't know about you, but that ticks me off. We think that's totally unacceptable here at Minnesota Gun Rights. We don't play that way. In fact, we specialize at going into districts at election time and exposing anti-gun legislators for their attacks on the Second Amendment. So Ben Wallace says, so what happens next? Ben, a lot of that is up to what happens here at the legislature now. Like I said, we're still at the beginning of the legislative session. The hearings are done for today, but any one of these legislators, and Dave Pinto, they can pick these bills up anytime they wish and have another hearing on them. They could move it on to the House floor if they wanted to for a full vote. We're hearing through the grapevine already that Representative Linda Slocum's House File 3022, this gun control mega bill, that it has great potential to come up in the very near future for a hearing here as well. So here we have it. Gun control, moving, having hearings. That's the order of the day here today. So what happens next, folks, what we need to do now is keep the pressure on. We can't let up. We can't back down. We cannot relax. This is not over. They're coming back for more. The left is emboldened. These anti-gun legislators are emboldened to attack your gun rights because of the weakness of House leadership here, of gelding doubt, of weak Speaker of the House, Kurt Doubt, because of the weakness that this caucus, that this majority here has signaled to the left has become emboldened, and they're excited to fight for gun rights, to fight against your gun rights. I was standing in the committee room just a little bit ago, and I saw Senator Ron Latz walks in, and he's standing right beside me. And Senator Ron Latz is the most notorious anti-gun senator in this entire legislature, and he is the Senate sponsor to these gun control bills that we're hearing. And he was grinning from ear to ear. He was as peachy. He was so happy to see his gun control bills being held up for hearings here, and he was shaking hands, and he was thrilled to see gun control moving and having hearings in the Republican majority party that we have here in Minnesota. So we need you to join Minnesota Gun Rights today. We need you to jump on board with both fists swinging. We need you to become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. Click on the link. If you're not already a member, join us. Join up with us. Fight with us. We're fighting tooth and nail for your gun rights here. We're running massive statewide programs right now to expose the anti-gunners here and to fight on behalf of your gun rights. We're doing mass email deploys. They're not free. We're doing targeted social media posts to make sure gun owners are aware of what's going on, signing their petitions against gun control. That's not free. We're probably going to be running radio ads in targeted districts in the near future based upon what's happened here today. Those are not free. The list goes on of the programs that we're trying to pile on this legislature legislature to hold them accountable and keep gun owners up to date and involved in this fight. So we need the resources necessary to do that. We need gun owners on board. We need you guys to stand with us, to fight with us, and push back against this stuff. Like I said, what's happened here today and what's been happening so far this session is political maneuvering at its finest. It's you pull a little rule over here, a little trick over there. You say this, you put the blame over here, you put the credit over here, and they try to paint this picture for gun owners of what they want you to see and not the truth. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know what's actually happening here under this Capitol dome. They don't want you to know. Well, that's why I'm here, to make sure you know what the heck is going on with your gun rights. And what's going on is weakness, weak sauce from our party, from our majority party here in St. Paul. Did not see a big show of force. We had tons of gun owners. Gun owners showed out in force. Gun owners made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls. Gun owners poured the pressure on. But the legislature, the legislators themselves, nothing, very little. It was not good to see. We need gun owners on board with this. We got to keep the pressure on. Call your state rep. You could type up an email to them, tell them you're opposed to gun control, and you're going to hold them accountable at election time, and send that freaking email to them every single day this session. Make them see it. Make them know, folks, we're activated, we are mobilized. Gun owners are not, they're not too busy to fight for their freedoms. They're not too busy to sign petitions, to make phone calls, to send emails, and what's more, they're not too busy to go to the polls or don't go to the polls in 2018. Not too busy for that. Make sure your state reps know exactly what you expect of them. That's the next step here. Fighting tooth and nail for your gun rights, making the phone calls, keeping up the pressure, and joining Minnesota Gun Rights today. Guys, I think there's a link in the comments section here. I'm going to check, you guys. Join Minnesota Gun Rights today. You can click here. You can go to the link on top of the video and join up with Minnesota Gun Rights. We offered written testimony because it was clear that the committee had designed today, had designed what happened here today to go the way it went. They wanted to keep gun owners out. They wanted to hold this hearing. They wanted to have as little information get out to gun owners as humanly possible, and they've kept testifiers out in the past. So we did a written testimony, and we made sure, and if you want to listen to that testimony, go back to the beginning of this video when it's over and listen to it for yourself. We told them in no uncertain terms that we will hold them accountable for their actions during this committee hearing in the upcoming elections. We will make sure gun owners all across this state know exactly what's happened here, so kill these bills. And again, for those of you who are just hopping on, James says, what's the number to call? James, we are going to have action alerts and updates in the very near future once we've picked our targets, who needs to receive the phone calls, who needs the pressure for this stuff. We will make sure we get that information out. Watch this Facebook page. It'll be coming out very, very, very shortly. So stay on board with that. For right now, guys, join up with Minnesota Gun Rights. Help us fight back. We did not see a major defense of your gun rights here today, except by gun owners themselves. That's what we saw. Gun owners turned out in droves, but the committee had a hearing in a tiny little room, and they kept most gun owners standing out in the hallway. I mean, many gun owners were standing out front here on the marble steps because they simply couldn't get into the committee room to hear what happened. So we offered up this testimony, and we told them you will be held accountable for what you've done and for what you do here today in this committee. So again, folks, we're about a week and a half into this legislative session. We've already had hearings on two major gun control bills. Those bills today, for those of you who are just getting on, the bills were laid on the table. They were not killed. The bills were not killed. They were not killed. They were laid on the table, which means those bills can be picked up at any time for another committee hearing. They can be changed. They can hop onto the House floor for a vote. Anything like that can happen with these bills. When the majority party, when the Republicans in that committee room could have voted on it and killed the bills, so they're done. No gun control. None of those bills would still be alive if the legislators in that committee had stood up and went to war for the gun owners who were there. You guys, I'm going to check the comment section here. Yeah. So Heath says, even if you don't own guns, this overstep should worry everyone. That's exactly so. Folks, this is the fight for freedom at its finest. We have weak legislators here who are not fighting for your Second Amendment rights, your Second Amendment freedoms. And we have the left, the leftists, they're couching all of this garbage in crap jargon. It's all about public safety. It's all about looking out for the kids. You know, they use the tragedy in Florida to advance their radical gun control agenda. That's what they're here doing today, when we know that instead it's not about the kids, it's not about public safety, it's not about keeping guns out of the hands of crazies, it's about a radical leftist ideology where they want control over people, they want control over your freedom, they want control over your gun rights, and they'll stop at nothing to get it, which is why our pro-gun legislature should be going to war for your gun rights. What should happen right now, and here's the best thing, what should be happening right now is Speaker Doudt, Gelding Doudt, should take Stand Your Ground. He should put it right on the House floor and force a vote on it. That's what he should do. He should force the anti-gun legislators to vote no on Stand Your Ground law. Of course it would pass, we would hope, because we have the majority, right? Gun owners have the majority here in St. Paul. We would expect it to pass the House, and then at election time, gun owners can go to war for the legislature and go after these anti-gun legislators in their districts. But we're not seeing that at all. Instead, they're backing up, and they're not going to move any pro-gun bills. So instead of the legislature going to war for gun owners, just the opposite is happening here today, folks. John says, what happened with 3022? John, today the hearings were on universal gun registration and red flags orders. House File 3022 has not been referred to these committees, that has not been brought up for a hearing, but we are hearing that is still going to happen. They did not discuss House File 3022 today, but even these bills, which were not the gun control mega bills, even these bills were not killed here today. They were laid on the table, they were laid over, and these gun control bills are still alive. That's totally unacceptable, folks. It's unacceptable to us. I know you agree as gun owners and Second Amendment supporters in Minnesota. So we need to keep the pressure. As I said before, we can't take our foot off their necks. They need to know that gun owners are serious, that we take this seriously, and that we are not willing to compromise on our freedom. We are not willing to back down. We are not willing to shut up. Despite what this weak legislature wants of gun owners, they want gun owners to shut up. They want gun owners to be uninvolved. They want gun owners to back down and just let them do whatever they think is best. We say BS. We say it's a load of crap. We think that the legislature should go to war for the gun owners. That's what we think. Do you agree with that? I think we all agree with that. So folks, we've got a job ahead of us. We need gun owners to jump on board. We need gun owners to join Minnesota Gun Rights today. Become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights because it's clear that the grassroots gun owners are going to be the ones who actually hold this legislature accountable. Gun owners are the ones now who have to make sure that no gun control passes here in the state capitol, because the majorities that we sent here who are supposed to be pro-gun, they're supposed to vote for Stand Your Ground, a constitutional carry. They're supposed to go to war for your freedoms, but we're not seeing that. So gun owners need to pile on and make sure this happens. You guys, a lot of you are asking for a list of who's who and what's what and who to contact. That information will be coming out very shortly. We will pull together the list of who needs the pressure, who needs to be piled onto right now to make sure gun control is stopped here in Minnesota. Stay tuned for that. I want to say, one of the best ways you can stay up to date, and you can read this whenever you want to, one of the best ways for you guys to stay involved and to get our action items and to fight for your gun rights is to sign up for our email program on our website, minnesotagunrights.org. If you're on your computer, it's in the top right corner, a little blue tab. You can click on it, your name, and and punch in your email address. We will send you updates on everything that's happening here at the Capitol, and in those updates, we'll post phone numbers, we'll post contact information of everybody who needs to hear from gun owners. So that's what I'm asking you right now. Join up with Minnesota Gun Rights and sign up for our free email program so you know what the heck is going on up here. You know who to target. You know who to... oh my goodness, Cynthia says, I'm a life member, a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much for being a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. You guys, I do want to mention, because Cynthia says that I'm a life member of the NRA. Guys, we didn't see the NRA here today. I mean, unless I missed them. I guess that's possible. But the NRA was not present here. I did not see their lobbyists here today testifying against these bills. If I missed it, somebody please correct me. But that's not what we've seen. What we've heard from the NRA is that they have no intention of pushing any pro-gun bills this year, and so far nothing against gun control. You know, that to us we think is ridiculous. Now is just the time to be passing pro-gun bills. Now is just the time to be putting our to be putting our feet to the pavement to fight for our gun rights. Now's not the time to back off. Now's not the time to go, well, things are going poorly, things are going badly, so I guess now's the time to sit down and not fight for freedom. No, that's not Minnesota Gun Rights' way. That's not our way. We're going to fight nonstop, 24/7, 365. It's our job. It's what you sent us here to do. It's what you trust us to do. We're going to keep doing it no matter what happens. So I'm asking you, join Minnesota Gun Rights. Join Minnesota Gun Rights and become a member today. We need you on board. Again, for those of you who are just hopping on, the bills were laid on the table. They were not killed. These gun control bills today, they were not killed. They were laid on the table, which means these bills are still active. They can still be used and brought forward for more committee hearings. They can be thrown on the House floor anytime they please, which we think is totally unacceptable. These bills should have been voted on and killed right there in committee. That's what should have happened. If you agree, I just ask that you join us today. We need more gun owners in on this fight. We have a lot of programs running full steam. We're spending massive amounts of your donor dollars right now on the programs necessary to defeat this gun control. I was talking about them earlier in this film, in this video. We're spending money big time right now because that is what is needed in defense of the Second Amendment. Now is not the time to sit back and just and barter a deal. Now's not the time to do anything like that. Now's the time to fight with everything we've got. We don't have Bloomberg sponsors. We don't have big billionaires who shovel hundreds of thousands of dollars at us like Protect Minnesota and Moms Demand Action. They were out in force here today, passing out T-shirts, passing out pins. They were out in force here today. And it's all being funded by Michael Bloomberg. We don't have Michael Bloombergs who are involved in the gun rights fight. All we have, folks, are you. And you know what? That's better. That's so much better. We would much rather have tens of thousands of committed, honest, hardworking Americans, Minnesotans, who believe in their freedoms, who believe in their gun rights. We would much rather have your memberships than some big gun control mogul, some big billionaire from out of state being the supporter for what we're doing here. We want you guys, and we want you guys only. Get on board. Get on board. Join Minnesota Gun Rights today. I'm going to scroll through some of the comments here. Jay says, too loud, can't hear. Sorry, Jay. Watch this video a little bit later. We have a lot of work to do. And Donald says, absolutely, we support each other and you for your work. Thank you, Donald. Thank you so much. He says, keep this up. This is a battle, and we do need to continue to stay active. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for agreeing. Thank you so much for understanding what we're talking about here today. Because again, everything that happens here in St. Paul is supposed to stay here in St. Paul. That's what the legislature wants. They want everything that happens under this big marble dome behind us. They want it to stay here. They don't want gun owners to know. They want these committee hearings. They wish no gun owners would show up this committee. That's what they wish. They wish gun owners would stay home. They wish they would not get involved. They don't want anything that happens here in St. Paul to get back to the voters. Well, that's our job. That's why we're here, to make sure that voters, that gun owners, the Second Amendment supporters all across Minnesota, that they know what the heck is going on here, because it's usually backroom deals, smoky backroom cocktail parties where they decide what bills they're going to work on, what bills they're not. That's what usually happens here, and they want to keep it quiet. They want to keep it hush-hush, and they'll make their deals, and they'll pad their pockets, and they'll advance their gun control agenda. Well, that's why Minnesota Gun Rights is here. We're here all the time. We're fighting for your gun rights. We're activating gun owners. We're growing a grassroots army of gun owners all across the state to get involved and to hear what the heck is going on here to fight back. So that's why it's so important to have gun owners on board. That's why it's so important that we have your membership, that we have you receiving our emails, our free emails. It's so important. We're going to have more emails coming out about what happened here today. We're going to lay this out there so gun owners know what's happening. So I know a lot of times you can't always jump on every live video. You can't always watch these live updates. Well, if you sign up for our email blast, you can read those emails anytime you want. You know, when you're sitting on the couch, when you're finally home from work and you have a few minutes to breathe, you can sit down, you can read the email from that day so you know what the heck is going on. So go on our website, minnesotagunrights.org, www.minnesotagunrights.org. Sign up for our free emails, become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights, sign our petition on the website against Linda Slocum's House File 3022, her major gun control. Sign your petition opposing it. We will be delivering those petitions to the Capitol if this bill comes up for any sort of hearing or any sort of vote. We need gun owners on board. Join Minnesota Gun Rights and plow forward in defense of your gun rights. We need a wall. We need a wall of gun owners to stand and say, no farther. We'll give not 1 inch. We're going forward. We're not going backwards. We're fighting for our gun rights. We will not compromise. We will not sell out. We will not trade our freedom for gun control. It's just never going to happen. You'll never hear it from us. You'll never see it from us. So join Minnesota Gun Rights today. And again, stay in contact with your state reps, your state senators. Tell them that you're activated, that you're mobilized, and that you're willing to fight for your gun rights. You're willing to hold them accountable at election time. That's number one priority right here. There's a few things I want you to do. Join Minnesota Gun Rights. Sign up for our free email blast. Oh, who just said that? Who just said that? I got to see that. Jay says no compromise. Jay, man after my own heart. So many times you get up here, other gun rights organizations, other people come up here, they want to compromise. They're willing to barter and trade. They're willing to go along with the talking points of Bloomberg's organizations, and they're willing to give a little compromise, maybe give an endorsement to an anti-gun legislator at election time in exchange for a little something over here. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. All you can do is fight. All you can do is be no compromise. It's the only way to defend your gun rights. It's the only way to advance your freedoms. Ben says, drain the swamp. Yes, Ben, the swamp here in St. Paul is every bit as stinky and smelly and putrid as the swamp in Washington, D.C. We certainly have a St. Paul swamp here today. So we need to fight back. Brian, again, says no compromise. Guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate hearing that. You know, everybody has their different ideas about how politics is supposed to work, and seeing gun owners come on this video here today and reaffirm that what we're doing here is the right thing, that no compromise is the only way to fight for our God-given, constitutionally guaranteed freedoms. Could not be happier to have that. Dale, Nick, always happy to see you on here. Oh my goodness, the comments are coming so fast I can hardly read them all. Pat says, no compromise, stand your ground, Minnesota. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on this video. Share it with your friends, share it with your family so they know what the heck is going on here. Become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. Don't give an inch. Don't back down. Don't accept scraps. Don't accept gun control. Don't accept that just because this is the political climate right now, that just because Gelding Doubt and his leadership team in the House chamber behind me here, just because they're sitting there saying, yeah, we're not going to move stand your ground this year, we're going to move gun control, or we're going to hold hearings on gun control bills, just because that's what they're saying does not mean that we've got to accept that. We don't have to accept that. Gun owners, no compromise. That's our mission, that's our message, that's our constant goal. We will not compromise on your gun rights, we will not compromise on the Second Amendment. We will fight and fight and fight. We will hold any legislator accountable who attacks our gun rights. We will go into their districts at election time, and we will do what we do best. We'll run radio ads, we will run TV ads, we'll run targeted online media posts. We will go door to door with literature drops. We'll do targeted email blasts into those legislators' districts, and we will expose them to voters and gun owners in their districts at election time. Guys, that's how we create change here. That's how we really hold a legislature accountable. If I came up here every session and just kind of ran my mouth a little bit, and I know I run my mouth a little bit right now, but if I just came up here and said, you know what, gun owners want this, and the legislature said, well, you know what, screw gun owners, you get nothing, gun owners get nothing. If I just went home and said, well, I asked and they said no. If we don't go after them in their districts, if we don't expose them for their attacks on our gun rights, then we're a worthless gun rights organization. Then we're not doing our jobs. Then we are misrepresenting gun owners. So folks, that's what we do, and that's what we do best. And we are not going to back down. We're not going to stop now. Tammy says we need to speak up to our representatives. Tammy, I couldn't agree more. I'm going to throw a link in the comment section when this video is over. If you don't know who your state rep is, call them. I'm going to post a link so you can find out who your representative is. Call your representative and tell them, hey, listen, buddy, you work for me. You work for me. I mean, you tell me, what boss, what employer anywhere is terrified of their employees? What boss goes, hey, whatever you want to do, if you don't want to work today, that's just fine. It doesn't happen. You are the boss of these people. I know this place is supposed to be so big and marvelous. It's supposed to strike fear and awe into us average, everyday Minnesotans. That's what it's supposed to do. And so when we come here and talk to these representatives and state senators, they want you to start doing this. Oh, all hail our elected officials. Remember, we're the boss. You're the boss. These people work for us. Now, they don't want to work for us. They want to do whatever they want to do. That's what they want to do. But that's just not how it works here, folks. We expose them. We make sure gun owners know what the heck is happening here. And then you can hold these people accountable. You can say, you know what? You're fired. You can do that. We have the right, we have the ability to do that. We need, folks, that's why we just need you on board. We need you making phone calls. Call your state rep and tell them, hey, listen, buddy, I live in your district and I totally oppose this garbage. And what's more, we're not going to fight for you at election time if you refuse to fight for us when you're in office. That's how this works, folks. That's how this works. We know it. You know it. What's more, the legislature, they know it too. All these legislators, they know how this works. They just don't want you to know. And that's why we're here, to make sure that gun owners know what the heck is going on. So I'm asking, join Minnesota Gun Rights today. Become a member. I want to tell you, for a Freedom member or a Patriot level membership to Minnesota Gun Rights, you get a free t-shirt, bumper, decals. You can show off your pride in the Second Amendment, maybe trigger some lefties. I don't know, but I live in Northfield. There's a lot of leftists and anti-gunners in Northfield. So I wear my Minnesota Gun Rights t-shirt to the gym every day, and every so often I get a thumbs up, but more often than not, people do this number, and oh, you're a raging maniac. So if you sign up, if you get a Freedom level membership or a Patriot level membership, or of course a lifetime membership, we'll throw in a free t-shirt. We'll send it to you as soon as we can. Guys, we're right in the middle of this major gun control fight right now. So I apologize if the t-shirts don't get out right away. I know some of you have bought memberships just in the last couple of days. You're looking for your t-shirts. We're going to try to get those out in the mail in the next couple of days. Please be patient on that. But join. If you're not a member, join. Become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. We're the largest state-based gun rights organization in Minnesota, and what's more, we're the only no-compromise organization. We're the only ones who come here and go, you know what, we're not going to give an inch. I know, we've heard all your leftist talking points. We know that you want to have a dialogue. You want to have a conversation about gun control. And other organizations come here and go, we're willing to talk. We're willing to have discussions on this stuff. We're just not. We're just not willing to have conversations on gun control. Here's how the conversation goes. You want gun control, we say hell no, we want stand your ground, and we're going to shove it down your throat. That's the conversation. That's the conversation Minnesota Gun Rights is willing to have. If you agree with that, give me a thumbs up. I want to see some thumbs up going across the camera here to know that you guys totally agree with this, because, folks, it doesn't happen any other way. It doesn't happen any other way. We don't get our gun rights protected and defended any other way. Conversations and dialogue on gun control, it only ends one way. We get screwed, and the anti-gunners win. That's how conversations and dialogue about gun control, that's how they pan out every time. We've seen it all over the place. Ben Ross says, just tuned in from Crookston. What was the outcome of the hearing? Ben, guys, for those of you who just got on, the outcome was this. The outcome was this. I was in a committee room, and the left is going to war on your gun rights. That's what we saw. We saw Representative Dean, we saw Representative Considine, we saw Representative Pinto, and others who were standing there taking massive blows at your Second Amendment freedoms. And the pro-gunners, our pro-gun majorities in that committee room were weak sauce. I did not see one legislator stand up and go, listen, no. The answer is no. We will not violate the Second Amendment. We will not violate your constitutional rights. In fact, we're going to pass stand your ground. Nobody did that. Nobody did that today. So what they did instead, and they didn't vote on the bill either. They could have voted on it, I would hope, since we have the majority in that committee, or supposedly have a pro-gun majority in that committee. I would hope that if it came up for a vote, it would get defeated, right? We don't want Republicans voting for gun control. But what they did instead, they didn't vote on it, they laid it on the table. They laid it on the table. And what that means is the bill is not dead. Neither one of the bills died here today, which is what should have happened. They should have had a vote, they should have crushed it, and they should have killed the bill so that they cannot advance. Instead, they went weak, they went soft, and they said, we're gonna lay the bill on the table and we'll have discussions later. We're gonna work on this bill. That's what they decided to do. So the bills aren't dead. The bills can come back up for another hearing yet. The bills can go on the House floor for a vote. The bills just simply aren't dead. There's all sorts of processes that the anti-gunners can still use here to advance their bills. So we wish that they had just voted. That's what should have happened. We should have had one real strong pro-gun legislator go, I make a motion that we vote on this bill right now. Vote on it, kill it, so the gun control is dead, dead, dead. And then gun owners know who's pro-gun and who's not. Instead, they laid it on the table, which means this gun control is still alive. This was universal gun registration or universal background checks. This was for the red flags orders that would allow an ex-wife or a doctor or somebody to petition a court, strip you of your gun rights without any due process. They can do it with ex parte hearings. You don't even get to come and defend yourself. These are the bills that were heard today, and they didn't even kill them. They didn't even vote no to kill the gun control. So nothing happened right now as far as advancement of this gun control. Instead, they laid it on the table, which is always a safe bet. It's always a safe bet. If you don't want to go on the record, if you don't want to go on record and fight for gun owners, if you don't actually take a vote, well, then you do something like lay it on the table, because that sounds real good, and then they can walk around and go, hey, listen, we just killed off all this gun control. Hi, folks. There's a lot of people walking by over there. My goodness, you wouldn't even know it. Instead of standing up and killing the gun control and fighting for gun owners, they lay it on the table so that they can turn around and go, hey, no gun control advance today. And then they want gun owners to go, yes, our majorities are fighting for us. When the truth is when the reality of this situation is, no, they didn't actually go to war for gun owners. They didn't actually stand up and fight for gun owners. They laid it on the table, which was the safe bet. It allowed the bills to stay alive. It allows Representative Pinto and Considine and Dean and all these people on the Public Safety Committee, it allows them to bring these bills up for future hearings, for future action. They could even pull those bills out and stick them right on the House floor behind me. That door, I mean, that's the House chamber. They could put it on the House floor and vote on it still. They didn't kill the gun control. We think that's totally unacceptable. We think that's weak sauce from our pro-gun majorities up here. So that's what happened here today, you guys. They instead of having the committee in this huge committee room that they usually have over in the state office building, instead they moved it over to a tiny little committee room down there in the corner on the bottom floor where almost nobody could get into the rooms. They put a few people in there, they closed the doors, and hundreds of gun owners had to stand out here and just wonder what's happening inside there. They didn't want gun owners to know what went down. They didn't want gunners to know what happened. Well, that's why I'm here. That's my job. I'm here to let you know that our majorities are weak sauce. I'm here to tell you that the leftists, that the raging leftist anti-gunners are on fire. They're so excited about this gun control. I said this a minute ago. By the way, guys, join up. Join Minnesota Gun Rights. Become a member today. There's a link right here in the comments section. We need gun owners on board. Gun owners across this state, this grassroots army, this grassroots wall. Gun owners are the only people who are going to be able to stop what's happening here. They're the only ones who are going to be able to hold this legislature accountable. They're the only ones who are going to stop this gun control, because I'm going to tell you, there are I'm talking no pro-gun legislators. I mean, that's just what I want to see. I want to see one pro-gun legislator stand up and say, no gun control. No gun control, and what's more, we're going to pass stand your ground. We want constitutional carry. I'm going to fight for gun owners because that's what I promised to do when I was running for office. That's what we at Minnesota Gun Rights would love to see. But there isn't a single solitary legislator who's willing to go on the record and pile on and fight for gun owners. David says we need to organize a rally. David, that's a hard thing to do because gun owners work their tails off. They work day in and day out. We saw a good showing here today, but what is more important, what is absolutely necessary is the phone calls, the emails, the petitions that get signed. That is vital in stopping this gun control. It's better than a rally. It's better than showing up here, because I'm going to tell you, the anti-gunners, they're here almost weekly. They're holding their rallies here, attacking your gun rights. That's why we need the phone calls. We need the emails. We need the petitions pouring in here, because gun owners, I mean, it's such a long ways to go for a lot of people to come down here. So if we can't make it, make the phone calls. Send your emails. Sign your petitions against this gun control on our website. That's what needs to happen here today. And join Minnesota Gun Rights. Join us today, because you're not getting the truth. You're not getting the truth from this legislature. You're not getting the truth from the majority parties. I guarantee you, they're going to march around right now, and they're going to post all over Facebook, and they're going to send out their tweets, and they're going to send out their little emails, and they're going to say, "We fought for gun owners today. No gun control passed the House Public Safety Committee." Well, what we saw was a bunch of pro-gun legislators kind of sitting on their duffs. I mean, some of the guys in there are supposed to be some of the strongest pro-gunners in the legislature, and they literally didn't say a single word. Not a word. I mean, the anti-gunners are attacking your gun rights. And it was weakness. A lot of weakness out of the majorities that we have here. But guys, gun owners are able to get this job done. Gun owners are able to kill this gun control. Gun owners are able to pile the pressure on hard enough and fast enough to get this job done. You've done it before. We have done it before, and we will do it again. So we need you to join Minnesota Gun Rights. Become a member today. Sign up for our emails and share this video. It's absolutely vital. It's so important. You know, every so often, guys, we've been seeing this happening quite a bit. I just want to bring, I want to mention this to you. Facebook itself is attacking our gun rights platform. Facebook itself is marking all sorts of comments as spam. Like so when we're drawing attention to anti-gun legislators, we've had some members and supporters comment contact information in the comments section, and Facebook itself will censor that out and mark it as spam. So we are being censored on Facebook because of our gun rights stance, because of our Second Amendment stance. That's why we ask you, share the video, comment on the video, like the video, because that forces Facebook's algorithms to put this out there for gun owners to see. So that's why we ask you guys to share it, share the videos, because they're censoring us. It's ridiculous. Oh man, who just commented here? Greg says, just joined. My gosh, Greg, thank you so much. Thank you for fighting for us gun owners. I just wish these cowards we voted into office would fight for us. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? I mean, is there a single state legislator here who would like to hop on this camera and tell gun owners that they're going to fight for them? Anybody? No, not really, not really. So we got to do it ourselves. We've got to do it ourselves and make sure this majority party, this legislature knows, make sure they know that they will be met with resistance at election time. They will be met by angry gun owners in their districts at election time for their betrayal of gun owners here in Minnesota. That is the answer to this question, folks. That is how you make legislators listen. You can't beg them. You can't. I mean, some organizations, they like to come here and they like to educate legislators. They want to talk about the worthiness of their cause. They want to try to convince them, in their own heart of hearts, to believe in our issue and fight for us. I'm here to tell you, politicians are soulless. They're spineless and they're soulless. What they care about the most, what they believe in the most, is re-election. That's what these legislators want. They want to be re-elected. They want bigger majorities. That's what they want. And so the idea that we can come here and kiss political backside, that we can come here and beg these legislators to do the right thing or try to convince them, that the statistics are on our side, it just doesn't work. They will do whatever they think is best for their own political careers, which is why it's our job at Minnesota Gun Rights, and it's your job as gun owners and as voters to make sure they know it's in their best political interest to vote and fight for the Second Amendment. That's how it works. You tell them, hey, listen, you ain't getting rewarded. You ain't getting rewarded for being a weak sauce, weak-kneed, spineless legislator. Not going to happen. You got to tell them the only way you get rewarded by citizens and by voters is if you fight on behalf of your voters, of the gun owners who sent you here. That's the message. That is the message. Kurt says, perfect description of a politician. I'm not joking. I'm not joking here. I mean, politicians are the best. They're usually the best speakers. They're really suave. They have just the answer. When you tell them, why aren't you pushing for stand your ground? Oh, they've got all kinds of excuses, a whole laundry list of things that makes it not their responsibility. They're not to blame. That's what they want you to think all the time, and they're really, really good at it, which is why we're here, which is why Minnesota Gun Rights exists, because we don't buy any of that political bullshit. I apologize. I get a little salty. We don't buy any of that crap. We don't believe any of that crap. We're tired of excuses. Gun owners are tired of excuses. We're sick and tired of our pro-gun legislature, and always the pro-gun goes like this. Until we get a vote on Stand Your Ground, until Gelding Doubt decides to actually fight for gun owners, until we see advancements of gun rights, until we see this happen, the pro-gun legislature goes like this. Rico says, can you explain bullet points on this bill? Rico, the bills, plural, that were heard today were House File 1669, House File 1605. The first bill, which is universal gun registration, universal background checks. If this bill, and now again, these bills did not die today. They did not vote on these bills and kill them. They laid them on the table, which means these bills are still alive. what universal background checks would do is make all firearm sales, all transactions would have to be would have to go through a background check before they're allowed to sell firearms. So, and now the wording might be a little bit different in this bill, but they change this stuff all the time. For the most part, this is how it goes. You want to give a firearm to your wife or to your husband for self-defense. If you want to give one to your spouse, you have to take your spouse down to your local sheriff's department, run a background check on them, a criminal background check on your own spouse, and that firearm then gets pinged on the National Instant Check System. So your firearm transfer then goes into a national database, a gun owner database, before you're able to transfer that firearm. So you want to give a .22 rifle, to your 13-year-old son, for his birthday or for Christmas or something like that. You got to run a background check on your own kid under this bill. And so over the length of time, over the course of time, all firearms would be registered under this, because every time you run the background check, these guns get pinged on that database. That is what this would do. And every time we get universal gun registration in this country or in any country, every time that happens, the government uses and abuses that list of firearms and firearms owners. Guns get confiscated under universal gun registration laws. The other bill was the red flags orders bill. Guys, this bill is I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's just terrible. It's just terrible. What this bill would do is it would allow, so if you have an ex-girlfriend, an ex-wife, a long-lost lover, somebody, a doctor or what have you, if they can petition the court, if they don't like you, if they're ticked off at you for some reason, they can petition the court and say he's a danger to himself and others. And that court can strip you of your gun rights in ex parte hearings. Ex parte, you don't get to be there. They don't alert you that hearings are being had to strip you of your gun rights in court. They can petition a court, and you can be stripped of your Second Amendment freedoms through hearings that you're not even present for, because you are a danger to yourself and others. It's total hearsay. It's a total attack on your Second Amendment rights. You have more due process to fight a traffic ticket. You get to stand in front of a court and say, Your Honor, I wasn't speeding. You probably were, but you can stand in front of a court and say, Your Honor, I wasn't speeding, and you have due process when it comes to fighting a traffic ticket. But under this red flags orders bill, you lose your gun rights. You don't get to have a hearing. You don't have any due process, and you have no way to get back on board and get your freedoms restored to you. That's what these two bills would have done today. And again, our pro-gun legislature did not vote to kill them. They didn't vote to kill them. Instead, they laid them on the table, which means these bills are still alive. They can still be brought back up. They can have more hearings on them. They can amend them. They can make them worse. They can go on the House floor for a vote. The bills are not dead, not by a long shot. So don't listen to anybody else who's sitting there going, this is a massive victory for gun owners. This isn't a huge victory for gun owners. What we saw was weak sauce legislators who were too scared or too spineless to stand up and actually vote to kill gun control. That's what we needed to see here today. We needed to see somebody going to war for gun owners, fighting on behalf of gun owners, and that just is not what we saw. It's just not what we saw. Guys, we need you to join Minnesota Gun Rights today. Help us fight back against this gun control garbage. We have to do it, because if we don't, nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to fight for our freedoms unless gun owners do it themselves. Which makes you wonder, why do we have a pro-gun majority? Why do we have a pro-gun majority if we have to do all the work to protect and defend our own gun rights? Something to scratch your head about. Folks, need you to join with Minnesota Gun Rights. Join up. Become a member. We use every penny you give us to fight for your freedoms. The programs that we run, I guess we could sit back and just run like a free little Facebook program and pretend to be like a big gun rights organization. That would be free, I guess. But guys, we don't do that. Your gun rights deserve a better rock solid defense. And so we run massive programs, massive email deployments. We run radio ads, we run targeted posts in targeted districts, we do door-to-door lit drops, we do everything that's necessary, whatever the situation calls for, whatever is required. That's what Minnesota Gun Rights is willing to do to defend your gun rights and defend your Second Amendment freedoms. And so that's why we need gun owners on board. We need you to become members. We need you to join up, make a donation, contribute, help us fight back, help us have what we need to fight this stuff, because our weak legislature is not willing to get the job done. They're not willing to fight for it. Guys, it's unfortunate, it's not good, but we need people with a stiffer spine. We need rock solid champions of your Second Amendment freedoms who are willing to fight for gun rights. That's what we need here. For now, folks, gun owners, we got to get the job done. We got to pour the pressure on and make sure our legislators, our representatives know that they will be held accountable at election time for what they do here, and for what they don't do. It's not enough to just say, well, if a bill ever makes it on the floor, if Stand Your Ground ever makes it on the floor, I'll vote for it. You know, that's not enough. That's not enough, because what we have here is Gelding Doubt, Speaker Doubt, and Joyce Pepin and this leadership team. The leadership here is killing all the pro-gun bills. So we don't just need legislators who are willing to vote the right way if a bill should ever come up for a vote. We need a legislator, we need champions who are willing to stand up and say, hey, we got a problem here. I'm a pro-gun representative, I'm a pro-gun senator, and my own leadership here, our pro-gun leadership, is trying to kill these pro-gun bills. This is the problem. I'm not here to represent leadership. I'm here to represent gun owners. I'm here to represent my voters. I'm here to represent my district. They sent me here. That's what we need to see. Your legislator, your representative, your candidate who's running for office must be able to do that. It's not enough if they say, oh, I'll vote against some gun control, or I will vote for Stand Your Ground, whoever makes. We need them to stand up and buck up against leadership and fight for gun owners. You know, folks, we're not, we're nonpartisan 100%. And we will expose anti-gunners. We don't care if you're a Democrat, we don't care if you're a Republican, whatever you are, we'll expose you. And that doesn't make us very popular here. You know, a lot of these legislators, they don't like us at all because we expose them. We lay out what they're doing, we tell folks what exactly is going on here, and we're not willing to we're not willing to play games. And so that doesn't make us very popular up here. But you know what? Screw it. Gun rights is not a popularity contest. That's not what we're here for. We're not here so that every single legislator wants to shake our hands and go, hey, Ben, good to see you up here again. You know, that's not what we came here for. We came here to fight for gun owners. We came here to fight for our membership, and we don't give a rat's about your friendship. What we want is you to go to war on behalf of gun owners. If you agree, give me a thumbs up, folks. Let me know that you're watching. Let's see. Nathan says, thanks to the people who showed up. You are patriots. Nathan, I want to talk about that, and I couldn't agree more. I met so many great gun owners here today. I was so proud to have them standing with us, fighting with us, getting on board, being active and mobilized. I could not have been more proud of the gun owners who showed up here today. Because I tell you, normally it's us. You know, it's Minnesota Gun Rights comes up here, staff, volunteers, and we're forced to deal with these swamp monsters. We're forced to deal with anti-gun legislators and weak-kneed, slimy politicians. And so to come here today and see hundreds of blue-collar, God-fearing, red, white, and blue Americans who are fighting for their Second Amendment freedoms, to stand here with them, to shake their hands, to hear their stories, and to have them stand with us in defense of their freedom was a huge honor for me today, a huge pleasure, and I finally felt like we were fighting back, you know, that we were on equal terms. So thank you everybody for showing up here today who did. But the legislature, weak, very weak, our pro-gun legislators. We did not see a strong defense. We saw anti-gunners fighting tooth and nail. We saw Representative Pinto, Representative Dean, Considine. We're all there just fighting tooth and nail against your Second Amendment freedoms. and the pro-gun legislators, by and large, for the most part, were quiet and didn't really say anything on behalf of gun owners. And I know I said this a minute ago, but I was standing there in the committee room, and who should come walking in but anti-gun, notoriously anti-gun State Senator Ron Latz. Ron Latz has been attacking your freedoms for as long as he's been in office. Gun owners killed his universal gun registration bill in 2016 when he had hearings for that. We were there. It was awesome to see the bill killed. But Senator Ron Latz walks in, and now he's the Senate sponsor for Dave Pinto's gun control. I'm going to get back to your question, Chad. And Senator Ron Latz walks in, and he's grinning from ear to ear. He's thrilled to be here and to see gun control being brought forward by his colleagues, and to see such a weak showing from our pro-gun legislators. He was thrilled. It was terrible to see, but it just goes to show you the mentality of the anti-gun left here in Minnesota in the legislature. They're emboldened, they're excited, they're super pumped for their prospects of passing gun control, which is why we need our majorities to stand up and fight tooth and nail to kill this crap, to move stand your ground, pass stand your ground, pass constitutional carry, go to war for gun owners. Wipe that smirk off Senator Ron Latz's face. That's what we needed to see here today, and it's not what we saw. What we saw was weakness from our members, not from our members, from the members of that committee, from the pro-gun members. It was really sad to see. Chad says, why didn't the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus ask for the bill to be killed instead of laid on the table? Guys, I said it at the beginning of this video, we are Minnesota Gun Rights' only no compromise organization. We're the only gun rights organization who's not willing to barter a deal for what we want. We simply can't say the same thing about the other gun rights organizations here. The Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, they give out A ratings to anti-gun state senators. I'm sorry to say they did it in 2016. Anti-gun DFL senators were getting endorsements from the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. So they're not no compromise. They do some good things, but they're not no compromise. And I'm sure they had some friends on that committee who they were trying to protect. So we're not here to protect legislators, you guys. We're not here to protect friends. We're here to protect your freedom. We're here to fight for gun owners. That's why we came. That's why we came. It's the only way to do it. And so what gun owners needed to have happen today was for these gun control bills to be voted on and killed. That's what gun owners needed. What the legislators in that committee needed here today was for the bills to be laid over. That was the best thing for them when it was not the best thing for gun owners. So that's what happened here. And so again, we're only here for what's best for gun owners. It's as simple as that. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. There's no other way to do politics. Any other way is a betrayal. It's a betrayal of gun owners. It's a betrayal of gun owners. So we're just not willing to allow. We're certainly not going to request that they lay the bill on the table. That doesn't help gun owners. I mean, I guess it helps us a little bit that the bill didn't go forward today, but it didn't kill the gun control. That's what we needed to have happen. That's what needed to happen here today, and that is why in our written testimony we told them to vote and kill this gun control legislation that came forward today. Fight for gun owners. That's what we want. And what's more, they could have done a whole host of other things to fight for gun owners, and it just didn't happen here today. Like I said, just 2 days ago, the state legislature committees down in Missouri, anti-gun legislators brought forward gun control legislation. And the pro-gun majorities in Missouri took the gun control bill, they ran an amendment, they gutted the whole thing, they took out all the gun control, and they turned the bill into a gun-free zone repeal bill. And they gutted the gun control, and they made it a repeal bill for gun-free zones. And that is what passed out of the committee in Missouri. That's what pro-gun legislators are doing in Missouri. they're fighting for their gun owners. They're fighting for their Second Amendment rights down there, and they're sticking it to the anti-gun left. That's not what happened here today. Out in Cheyenne, Wyoming right now, their state legislature, the House and the Senate, passed Stand Your Ground law yesterday. That's what happened yesterday in Cheyenne. It's highly anticipated that'll finish all the rest of the passings out of the committees or out of off the House and the Senate, will go to the governor and become law. That's what pro-gun majorities are doing in Wyoming literally right now. What do we have here in Minnesota? We have gun control hearings and nobody willing to fight for gun owners. It's totally ridiculous. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on. He said he had to go. Time to clean house. He says spineless reps. Oh no, you don't have to go. You're saying the spineless reps need to go. Oh man, couldn't. We certainly need better leadership here. I'm going to go back through the comments here. David Kern says, just became a freedom level contributor. Thank you so much, David. I mean, we can't thank you enough. We have so much work to do. We need gun owners on board. Thank you for joining with us. I'm going to tell you, the money you just sent us is going to be put right to work. It will fight for your freedoms in the best way possible. It will fund the programs that are so needed, to hold this legislature accountable. Let's see, what do we have here? We have somebody says, coming in late during this video. Oh man, this is so hard to go through on the phone sometime. Do you have a quick recap of what went down this morning? 20-second recap, Elizabeth. I think it's Elizabeth. It's covered up by some of the comments. Quick recap. So gun control came forward, House File 1669, House File 1605. Instead of the committee voting and killing this gun control because they should have had the votes, instead of that happening, they laid the bill on the table. So the bills did not advance today, but the majority party did not kill the gun control either. So these bills can be brought back up for further consideration. They can have more committee hearings on them. It can go on the House floor for a vote. The gun control did not die today, and that's what should have happened. We saw a weak sauce from the pro-gun committee members who were there. That's what we saw here today. So that's what's happening here. That's the quick recap. Is that right now, folks, we need to pour the pressure on like we've never done before. Contact your state representatives. I can't throw the link in right now because I'm live on my phone here. But you can just go to Google and say who represents me in Minnesota, and there's a link on the legislative website. Find out who represents you. Call them, email them, Facebook them, tweet them, send them a smoke signal, and tell them that you want them to stand up for gun owners, that you want to see every piece of gun control killed this session, and that you want to see pro-gun bills passed. Pro-gun bills passed. We want Stand Your Ground. We want constitutional carry. That's what we want. That's what happened here today. We saw a weak sauce showing from the members of the committee, and clearly that's what Speaker Gelding Doubt wanted to have happen today. Was he didn't want to have a vote. He wanted to have it laid over because that's a safe bet. That's a safe bet in his mind for his colleagues and for the members of his party. Well, we're not here for safe bets for legislators. We're here for gun rights. We're here for gun owners. That's the only thing we care about. That's what we came here to fight for. We're not willing to compromise. We're not willing to back down. We're not willing to run interference for these weak legislators. Again, these other gun rights organizations, they're going to tell you what a huge victory this was. They're going to tell you how our allies in the committee really went to war for gun owners, and how the big victory because the bills were laid over. No. This is not a huge victory. Yeah, the bills didn't pass out today, but a weak committee refused to kill the gun control. We have the majority in the House. We have the majority in the Senate. There's no reason that all of these gun control bills don't just die. They should all be killed. They should suffer quick deaths. And instead, the speaker here, he should be grabbing Stand Your Ground. He should throw it right on the House floor and say, choke on this, anti-gunners. We're going to pass stand your ground law out of this committee or off the House floor. That's what should happen. Then at election time, gun owners know who's pro-gun and who's not, who just talked a good game at election time and who is actually sincere. But he won't put stand your ground on the House floor for a vote. So you tell me how pro-gun that is. You tell me how pro-gun that is. It's not. It's simply not. And this is a betrayal of gun owners, is what we're seeing here this session. We're seeing major gun control moving, and we're seeing weakness from the pro-gun legislators. Guys, I need you to join Minnesota Gun Rights today. This is the best defense of your Second Amendment freedoms here in Minnesota. We're fighting tooth and nail. We will not compromise. We will not back down. You'll never see us sitting in some legislator's office going, no, what are you willing to give us? We're willing to give you this if you give us that. We're willing to compromise here. We're willing to do that. It just won't ever happen. You'll see us standing right here talking to our membership, making sure you guys know what's happening here in St. Paul, so that the legislators, that these politicians who have gone pure politician, so that they are not able to pull the wool over gun owners' eyes by spinning wild stories about how great and pro-gun they are. That's what we're here for. That's our job. If you like that, give us a thumbs up. What's more, if you like that enough, I ask you join Minnesota Gun Rights today. We're spending big money right now on the programs needed to fight this gun control and to expose the anti-gunners here in St. Paul. We're running sponsored, targeted videos and Facebook right now in targeted districts. We are doing daily mass email deploys. So we don't just log on to Gmail and send those emails either. We have to run it through a special program. It costs money. Everything's costing money right now, but it's what's needed. It's what's absolutely necessary for the defense of your Second Amendment freedoms. And that's what we're here to do. That's why we ask you to contribute. That's why we ask you to join Minnesota Gun Rights, because we don't have any big daddy Bloombergs who are willing to jump on board and help defend your freedoms. We have members. We have thousands and thousands of members and supporters across Minnesota. They're the guys who we rely on for the resources and the manpower we need to fight tooth and nail for your gun rights here in St. Paul. So click on the link that's pinned here, or go to the link on the top of this video. Join Minnesota Gun Rights. Become a member, and I just want to say, don't trust what's coming out of this Capitol building if it's coming from sources that are questionable. Right now, we're seeing weakness from these pro-gun legislators, and these legislators are desperate for you to think that they are staunchly in support of your freedoms. You ask them, what have you done to move Stand Your Ground law? Have you stood up on the House floor and told the Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we want Stand Your Ground law? Have you forced a vote on pro-gun bills? If you haven't, then you are one of the people who are too scared to stand up for your freedoms. Too scared. That's the truth. So watch Minnesota Gun Rights. Watch our Facebook page. We're running so many live videos, so many updates. There's so much happening so fast in this gun control fight. We got to fight Linda Slocum's bill next. There's so much going on that we've got to fight. 1 second, folks. I got to grab a charger here real quick and put it on my phone. I'm down to just a couple of percent, and I don't want to fall off here. Guys, so there, I got this. Oh, geez, I got that all taken care of right here for you folks. Guys, that's what we're doing here. That's our job. We're fighting tooth and nail for freedom. We're fighting for your Second Amendment rights, and the legislature here is falling flat on their face. Gerald says, what's going on? Gerald, another 10-second recap. We had hearings on two major gun control bills here today. The hearing is the House Public Safety Committee. There was a bunch of political tricks happened leading up to this. I won't bore everybody with the details. If you want to watch that, go back earlier in the video. I've been over it a couple times. And what happened here today, instead of this committee voting to kill all this gun control, they laid both gun control bills, they laid it on the table, is what happened here today. Which means that both of these gun control bills are still alive. They're still well. They can still be brought up for more committee hearings. They can be put into other committees. They can go on the House floor for a vote. The bill simply did not die. So we had this pro-gun committee who, instead of standing up and going to war for gun owners, they went weak. They went soft. It was kind of mamby-pamby. And then instead of having a hard vote, instead of forcing people to vote for this and either vote for or against, they laid it on the table so that the bills are still alive. So we had a very small, a small victory for today in that we didn't have gun control pass the committee. But what we need to do now is not take our foot off their necks. We got to keep the pressure on, keep calling your state representatives, keep calling your senators, tell them you're opposed to House File 1669 and House File 1605, and tell them you're opposed to Linda Slocum's gun control mega bill, House File 1322, which we're hearing whispers now is coming up that could very well be coming up for a committee hearing in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. But what we need to do is keep the pressure on, keep the phone calls coming, keep the emails coming. Go on our website, sign up for our email blast, our free email blast. We're sending out emails almost daily to men across the state so they know what's going on. And become a member. Sign your petitions. They're all on the website. Sign your petitions for Stand Your Ground, sign for constitutional carry, sign to oppose this gun control. They're all on our website, minnesotagunrights.org. Oh, geez, is this true? Hold on a minute. Michael Starry says, meanwhile, the Minnesota Gunners Caucus is bragging that this is a huge victory. Come on, guys. You got to know better than that. This isn't a huge victory. This is political maneuvering by this committee. That's what this was today. The gun control bills are not dead. They're laid over. They're still alive and well. What would have been a victory for gun owners is if the majority party in that committee had stood up and said, screw you, Michael Bloomberg. Screw you, gun control advocates, you paid leftist trolls. This gun control, we're going to have a vote on it, and we're going to kill this gun control. Or what he could have done was, he could have gutted their gun control bills, and they could have literally ripped out their gun control language. They could have turned the bill into a Stand Your Ground bill. They could have amended the bill and put Stand Your Ground language in there, and they could have passed Stand Your Ground or constitutional carry or a Castle Doctrine enhancement bill. That's what they could have passed today. So this is not a huge victory for gun owners. And you know what? The other organizations know that. They know the truth, but they're here defending their friends. They have a lot of friends up here in St. Paul, a lot of people who they're doing deals with, who they're doing this stuff with, and they're here putting on a good show, but they're protecting their friends. You know who our friends are? Our friends are gun owners. Our friends are the members and supporters of Minnesota Gun Rights. Our friends are the gun owners across this state who trust us to come here and fight for their freedoms. That's who our friends are. We're not friends with anti-gun legislators. We're not coming here getting on our knees, begging them, to do what we want them to do. We're here with the promise. We have the backing of tens of thousands of gun owners. We have the ability to speak to them through Facebook, through direct mail, through our email programs, and we will expose you to those gun owners if you don't stand up and fight for gun rights. That's what we do here, and that's what gun owners expect of us. They don't expect a bunch of BS and a bunch of political maneuvering. Ridiculous. It's bad, folks. It's really bad. There's a lot, like I said, a lot of backroom deals, a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of deals and friendships that are being put ahead of the rights and the freedoms of gun owners. We think that's BS. If you agree, give me a thumbs up. I want to see a thumbs up coming across the screen here. Man, there's so many comments I'm trying to watch. So this is the problem, folks. This is what we're facing here. We have major major gun control that did not die today. It did not die. We did not see a big showing of champions standing up for gun rights. We didn't see that today. We saw a lot of posturing. We saw a lot of fake tears. We saw a lot of statistics being thrown around. We didn't see somebody standing up there saying, "Not no, but hell no." And that is what gun owners deserve. It's what gun owners expect. It's what gun owners expect. It's what gun owners deserve. If you agree, please join Minnesota Gun Rights. Become a member. Become a member today. This is a non-stop fight. We're not willing to back down. We're not willing to cut deals. We're not willing to settle for gun control. We're not willing to praise legislators who are weak sauce legislators who are not fighting for our gun rights. We're just not willing to do it. We're not willing to do it because you know why? Because when we do that, legislators win, politicians win, and gun owners lose. Gun owners lose when we do that type of gun rights activism, when we're willing to do politics that way. Michael Starry says, no compromise, only liberty. You're damn straight, Michael. Absolutely. Only liberty. We're not willing to barter. We're not willing to give away our freedoms. This is America, for pity's sake. This is America, and we are not willing to sell our most cherished freedoms because we have a bunch of fake gun rights organizations or fake gun control organizations funded by Michael Bloomberg who are up here fighting against our freedom. We're not willing to sell our freedom cheaply. If you agree, join Minnesota Gun Rights. Join us today. We're fighting nonstop. We are not willing to compromise. We are not willing to sell out, not for a seat at the table, not for political recognition, not to be patted on the back, not to win Lobbyist of the Year awards. It's just we don't give a rat's, and we're not willing to do it. We're not willing to sell your freedom for anything, not for anything. We want stand your ground. We want constitutional carry. We want complete Second Amendment freedom. If that's what you want, give me a love. Give me a love symbol running across the screen here. That's what I want to see. Guys, join up with Minnesota Gun Rights. Sign up for our email blast on Facebook. This fight is not over. Don't let the pressure off. Don't stop. Don't let up. Don't let your representatives think that you've fallen asleep or that you don't care. What's more, don't let your state reps think that you were fooled by what happened here today. Don't let them think that they got away, because again, they will tell you, they will come back to you, the voter, and they will say, I am pro-gun to the core. I believe in the Second Amendment. I grew up shooting a shotgun, and oh my goodness, and I have a camouflage shirt. I am pro-gun to the core. You tell them. You say, have you fought against leadership to pass stand your ground? Have you stood up in your caucus rooms and fought for freedom? Or have you just sat there going, well, if the bill comes up for a vote, I'll vote for it. Well, that doesn't mean nothing. That doesn't mean, you don't have to do anything that way. You don't actually have to fight for gun owners that way. All you have to do is sit around and wait for leadership to decide when you're going to vote on stand your ground and constitutional carry. That's not what we want. Leadership are the ones killing the bill. So what we need are rank and file members of our legislature. We need rank and file members to stand up and go, Mr. Speaker, I am bringing forward stand your ground law, and I'm going to force a vote on it. And we better be prepared to pass this bill because this is what I ran on. This is what I promised to my voters, to my gun owners in my district. This is what I care about, and I'm willing to fight for their Second Amendment freedoms, even if it means bucking the leadership in my own party. So don't be fooled by whatever else they tell you, because it's usually a bunch of hogwash. Oh man, so many comments here. Gerald says Linda Slocum should be tried for treason. Well, I'll tell you, she ain't burning red, white, and blue, blood in her veins. I can tell you that right now. She's an anti-gun radical and a leftist to the core. And we're going to fight these gun control bills every step of the way. And we're willing to push back on anybody. We don't care if you're a radical leftist or if you're just weak. We'll push back on weakness. We need strength. We need strength here in the Capitol right now. That's what we need. If you agree, give me a thumbs up. Share this video. Become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights today. Again, what we saw here today, we were supposed to have the hearing over in the state office building. That was what was supposed to happen today. That room holds a ton of people. Instead, they moved it to a little committee room over there on the other side, and they were only able to get a few people in each one of the rooms. And the gun owners, hundreds of gun owners, were forced to stand out here and wonder what happened. And so then these bills got laid over instead of being killed like they should have been. And it was weak sauce. I keep using that phrase. I don't know how else to say it. So don't be fooled for a minute about what happened here today. We still have a lot of work to do. Contact your state rep. Contact your state senator. Grassroots pressure is the only thing that works. Let me tell you, that's our entire model. And so instead of coming here and kissing political tail, we come here to advocate on your behalf, to hold these legislators accountable and get the information out there so you guys know what the heck is going on. So we mobilize the grassroots gun owners in your phone calls, your emails, your petitions. When you talk to your representatives and your senators, at your local, eggs and issues and different forums, when you pour the pressure on them, that is what holds their feet to the fire. That is what makes them go, geez, I got to do something on behalf of these gun owners. They're burning me down. And that's exactly what gun owners should do. Don't ever back down. Don't ever step back. Don't ever give up. Taylor says, don't lay down your arms to this tyrannical government. That's exactly what they want you to do. They want to strip your Second Amendment freedoms till you're back to muskets and flintlocks. They want you to give up your ability, your rights, your freedoms to defend yourself and your family. I don't know about you guys. I got a wife. I've got 2 kids. I got a brand new, 3-week-old son. He's the most adorable little thing. And I carry a pistol everywhere I go. I carry it because I've got a wife and 2 kids. They deserve to be protected. They deserve to be safe when they're out and about and we're buying groceries or going to a restaurant or something. But the leftists here, the anti-gunners and the weak pro-gunners, they don't want that at all. They want you to lose your freedom. They want you to lose that ability. They would rather I walked around defenseless. They would rather you walked around defenseless. Tony says, what is the likelihood that this bill passes? Tony, that's a hard question to answer because we're in this conundrum right now, right? So we have these pro-gun majorities right now, and so one would be tempted to say, no chance. No gun control will be passed here. It's impossible. But what we're seeing all across the country, we have Republicans like Marco Rubio and John Kasich, we have Donald Trump, for pity's sake, talking about gun control. And so now these supposed pro-gun majorities are shifting left. And so today, what would have been a good showing for gun owners, what would give us a good inkling that, hey, you know what, this gun control is going to die. We're going to fight it every step of the way, but it's going to die. If they had actually killed the gun control today, well, that would have been a good sign. But they didn't kill it. They laid it on the table. So the gun control is all still alive. Gelding Doubt, our weak, spineless House Speaker here, he has told us basically carte blanche that we're not getting stand your ground or constitutional carry this year. So so the leadership team is saying no pro-gun bills, and so the left, the anti-gunners, are going, oh my gosh, we have this majority on the ropes. We got them on the ropes, and so the leftists, the radical anti-gunners here, are going to war for their anti-gun cause. So what we have is this conundrum of pro-gun majorities who are in total defense backup mode, who are not willing to fight for gun owners, and we have the radical, mobilized left who are pushing hardcore. So anything can happen. Anything can happen this session. Nothing is a done deal. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Rob says, should we still buy tons of ammo? Rob, we think that's a good idea no matter what day of the week it is. Let's see what we have here. So we have, oh man, so many comments on here. Thank you guys for coming on here today. I'm going to move past some of this here. So yeah, guys, that's what's happening here today. We got gun control is what's moving. Yeah, so, you know, he's saying one of the comments here is talking about how Walmart is now banning sales to people under 21. We have businesses all over the country who are caving to this gun control agenda. This is the crap that's happening right now all across the country. So we can't take anything for granted. Nothing for granted. Anything can happen here. And so far in the what's the date today? It's today the 1st. So in the last 10 days, what we've seen is the introduction of Linda Slocum's House File 3022, this major, massive mega gun control bill. We've got that. We've had, so far, in the first 10 days of this session, we've had hearings on gun control bills, and the bills were not killed. They were not voted down and killed, and we're only 10 days in. So anything can happen. We can't let up. We can't back down. We got to keep the pressure on. So I'm asking you to join Minnesota Gun Rights. Join today. The link's in the comments section. The link's on top of this video. Become a member and help us fight back. We've got to keep exposing what's happening here. These politicians, these swamp monsters, are doing whatever they can to spin this, you know, to look like a major victory for gun owners. They want it to look like this. They want it to look like that. All this stuff. That's what they want you to think, but it's just not what's happening. So we got to keep getting the information out there with our direct mail, our email programs, our Facebook programs, our radio ads that we run when we can raise the resources to do it. We got to keep these programs running full tilt. And I'm telling you, they're running at about 95% right now. We're going full bore with your donor dollars, fighting this crap by mobilizing gun owners all across the country, all across the state. See, what other organizations like to do is come here with your donor dollars and start trying to pad pockets of legislators. They think if they promise some money for re-election campaigns, maybe they'll do something for their freedoms. No. The money needs to be spent mobilizing grassroots gun owners. That's what needs to be done here. It needs to be spent on these major programs fighting for Second Amendment freedom. Because the legislators, these politicians, aren't doing the job here. Aren't doing the job. Kyle says, so what is the next step now so we can get ready? Kyle, the next step right now is it's a generic one. It's pour the pressure on. These gun control bills did not die. We're hearing that there's more bills, more gun control. Representative Slocum's anti-gun, this mega bill, House File 3022, we're hearing through the grapevine that they're possibly going to bring this major gun control bill forward in the next few weeks for a vote. So contact your state representative, contact your state senator, and tell them you're opposed to all gun control. Tell them you want major advancements in stand your ground and constitutional carry. That's what you want here. So tell them that. Go on our website and sign our petition. And it's also in the comments section, or it's on our wall on our Minnesota Gun Rights Facebook page. Sign your petition opposing Slocum's gun control bill. We've already gotten 10,000 and more signatures on that petition. We got major action. That's fantastic. Sign up, sign that petition, and we're going to and we will pass those in. Gerald says, when is Minnesota Gun Rights going to plan a gun rally at the Capitol? Gerald, we might do that. We might do that yet. We know that what moves legislators is political pressure. So we know that phone calls, emails, specifically from gun owners in their district, that mobilizes. I know it's great to have gun owners come to the Capitol. We love doing that as well. But what is more important, what is more potent and more deadly is the phone calls, the emails, the Facebook messages, and the petitions that come from gun owners across the state. So it's hard to get to the Capitol. It's hard to get, because I tell you, we have the majority. There's tens and tens of thousands of Minnesotans, I think, who would love to come here to the Capitol for a Second Amendment rally, but but they can't. They just can't. They can't get the time off work. They live so far away. There's so much going on, and so that's why we ask people. More importantly, what's more important is the phone calls, the emails, and the contacting your legislators from your district, telling them what you expect. That is stuff that resonates, that rings in their empty little pea brains. That they go, holy crap! Gun owners are fired up. Gun owners are not settling for garbage, because what they want you to do, they want you to come here so that they can come around and shake your hand and say, hey, look, I'm wearing a gun pin, or I'm wearing a camouflage hat, and they'll walk around. They want to shake gun owners' hands and talk about how great and pro-gun they are. And so they want to trick a bunch of gun owners into thinking, well, this guy's a real champion. But what we see here all the time is it's just the opposite. So don't give them the opportunity to try to spin gun owners. Pour the pressure on. Tell them you're watching. Tell them you're activated and mobilized. Tell them that they will be met in their districts at election time. It's going to happen if they don't fight for gun rights. This is just a political reality. Guys, I'm going to sign off here right now. For those of you who are just hopping on, one quick final recap. So we had hearings on House File 1669, House File 1605, major gun control bills, and they laid the bills over they laid them on the table, which means they didn't vote on them. They didn't vote to kill the gun control. They laid it on the table, which means these bills are still alive. They can still be acted on. I mean, heck, they could hold a hearing on these very same bills tomorrow if they wanted to. They could put it on the House floor for a vote tomorrow. If they had voted in committee, and if they had killed the bills would be dead. That's what gun owners want. That's what gun owners need. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Instead, we saw weak sauce showing from the majority party in that committee, and we saw leftists going to war against your gun rights. So for now, the bills have been laid on the table. We got to keep fighting, keep pushing back. So join Minnesota Gun Rights, become a member today. The link is right there. If you sign up for a freedom level membership or higher, so a freedom, patriot level, or lifetime member, we'll rush you a Minnesota Gun Rights t-shirt so you can show your Second Amendment, your pride in your gun rights. We'll send you some bumper decals, and we will put your dollars to work immediately fighting for your Second Amendment freedoms, funding the programs that we are running full tilt right now, opposing this garbage gun control legislation. That's what we'll do with it. That's what we'll do with it right away. So click on the link, become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights, get involved. Get involved. Sign up for our emails, our free email blast. You can sign up on our website, minnesotagunrights.org. You can do that, and we will send out email updates, email alerts, so you can call committee members. We'll send out the phone numbers. We do petition drives. You can sign your petition right there in email. Sign up. This is how we mobilize the grassroots, and it works. It works. It's the only way to do it. I'm going to end this call here. I'll call you back. This is what works. So sign up, become a member, sign up for our email blast, sign your petitions, share this video, and stay tuned for more updates. We're going to have more action items. We're going to need to target more committees, more members, and we need to pour the pressure on this entire session long. Taylor says, true patriots, appreciate all you do. Taylor, we love you, man. We love you guys. We love all of you guys. Thank you so much for your help, for your support. Thank you for having our backs. Thank you for your phone calls, your emails, your activism. We're not backing down. We're activated. We're mobilized. We're fighting. We're fighting. We're fighting. We're not going to stop. So become a member, join up, sign, share this video, tell your family, tell your friends, and don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by what these legislators and these other fake gun rights organizations want you to hear. Don't be fooled by this. This is political treachery at its best. This is what we see. We see it time and time again. And this is what we have to fight against nonstop up here in St. Paul. So become a member, join up. Thank you guys so much. I see Nancy's, come on Minnesota and do the right thing. Absolutely. Absolutely, you guys. Oh, wait a minute. He said these guns need to be gone. Ah, troll. Never mind. Leftist troll. Get off the comments section. If I read that right, go over and join Moms Demand Action. This is a joke. We're freedom lovers here. So join up, become a member, fight for your gun rights, and hold these legislators accountable, both now during legislative session and especially in their districts at election time. That's what's most important. So join up. I'm going to catch you guys later. That's what happened today. We'll be in touch.